We are live. Woohoo! All right, hi. How's everybody doing today? I hope you're having a great day. Okay, so hi, my name's Christopher Runtsman. Welcome to One Page Story Extravaganza podcast. Sorry. This is where I get inspired by suggestions or ideas from other people, and I try to sit down and come up with a one-page story each day. And, it's kind of fun, pretty different, a lot of weird stuff. But I got some fun things to show people today, like the final refined setup where everything's built and ready to go in the studio here. I got the page up behind me from yesterday. I'm going to move my camera here a little bit because I'm blazocking everything, just blazocking it. Better. Okay. So, what am I forgetting? This is a suggestion that happened on Friday. I had a busy weekend, so I didn't do anything until last night. So I just worked on this a little bit and finished it off, and it's the last of the 500 Years From Now pages. So, if anybody else has any more 500 Years From Now suggestions, by all means, please feel free to put them in. And at the same time, new suggestions are always welcome. So the suggestion for this page came from a person so nice they get the same name twice, although we don't really know what it is. So we call them Anonymous. But okay, that's the jazz. If you want to see any of the finished originals for this, I'm going to give you a quick flash of one. You ready? I'm going to flash you. So this is the original for this page. It's gone. So if you want to see any of the originals for stuff that I'm doing, let me know. And you can do so on my Patreon. It's $3 a month and, whoa, extravagant, but it lets you see all the original art and other things. And I'm putting up a video I'm going to show today on the stream of my studio. So that's about it. So let's get cracking on today's page. There's this couple of really silly suggestions that are in front of me, and which I love, which is the best ones. So we'll be taking a look at that. Or does anybody want to start with the video? Do you want to start with the pizzazz? I don't know. We can do so. But feel free to chime in or chat it up, or if there's any ideas or thoughts going through your head or any questions along the way, just let me know and we'll get cracking. But get cracking. Bring out the Kraken. So let me adjust the cameras here and turn that one on. Woohoo! Bingo! Big hand. So this is the excitement. So because I try not to do the same thing every day, I thought we'd just, here's a pen. Work with that or work with anything else. So, I think without being too dramatic about stuff, I am going to show that studio tour video. This is the book. And lately I've been writing a lot of the suggestions on Post-its and sticking them in the book. And we're working on that. We'll get this all refined and figured out. There's a couple of fun ones that I've got here. I got another 3-word prompt. I've got a couple of those right now. And, but we finished Mr. Anatomy. Mr. Anatomy is the page from last week. And then we finished the last 500 years from now, which is Earth is flooded with diverse creatures that science has decided will be a good idea to bring back. Which is the page that, like I said before, that's this guy. It's fun drawing all these animals. It really was. And I really enjoyed it a lot. And art is kind of complicated, with especially with all the text out of it. So, All right. So we've got a couple of fun things. There's a short autobiographical story about me as I did a submarine tour. And it came up in conversation with friend Josh Kemble. Because I am 5'18", I did not fit on the submarine very well, and it was a sub that's been dry docked, here in Ontario in a place called Port Franks. And so the family went for a tour on it. And that was an adventure because, not a single part of me. There was three places in the whole sub that I could stand up straight. Otherwise, it was always doing this, a minimum of this. So, I could have a fantastic back if I was ever to join the Navy and try to get a job in a submarine. There's a little for that. That ship has sailed. Okay. So I think that because we just did a 3-page suggestion, another suggestion we've got is Christopher drawing a 1-page of Christopher, drawing a 1-page of Christopher, etc., into infinity. So that's another fun one. But I think what we'll go with is there's a strip. There's we got the Zen Garden. We got the strip drawn in the autobiographical. Just going through everything here. Nothing's jumping out at me. Lots of good ones. 1 page of 1 page of 1 page. And a little autobiographical stuff is coming up. Well, why don't we try the 1 page, me drawing a 1 page, or me drawing a 1 page, or me drawing a 1 page, or me drawing a 1 page? Why don't we try that? Just per skis. So I'm going to try to set my camera. My camera has been, there we go. I think that might be. So the pacing, the time belt is off on my camera again, and I have to reset everything because I had to move the computer to the other. The computer moved to the other side of my studio, and so because of that, the frame rate is off. And so I apologize for that today. I'm sorry. So we'll get it sorted out. Okay. So I'm just going to pull up some. I got these shots that we did while we were doing this tour of the submarine. It was great fun. Great fun. But we'll find some of those, pull those up. Anyways, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Okay, this has no lines on it. Maybe I'll go with one that's got a framing sequence, or we can do it on a smaller page. I really was organized before I started today. If you can believe that, I really was organized. Why don't we try one of these? People seem to be liking these. These are fun to work on. Okay, we'll do it on this. So me drawing a picture of me, drawing a picture of me, drawing a picture of me. That's what we'll go with here. And then I'm just making sure everything's all set up. Okay, we're good. So let's get cracking. I'm missing people saying hello, and I apologize for that. Yay, a studio tour. I can do the studio tour now if anybody has a preference, or we can do it later on. Good morning, everyone. Hey, Gary. Hey, Dee Dee. Hey, Jim. How you guys all doing? I've got a video of the studio tour. I cannot get the sound figured out, and that's what made me all calamitous in my head just before I started. Laura even tried to come and rewire my brainstem to make it work, and no such luck. But I can put it up now if people want to see it, and then we'll get started. We'll do it now. We could do it again later. I don't care. Studio tour. Okay. Let me put the video up. Just give me a second. And we'll put up the camera here. Let's get this dingus off. All right. So here we go. You ready? Don't be too excited now. All right, so this is the hallway outside my studio. That's where the cat's toys are. I asked them to clean up before the video. Star! So over there's my Thor hammer. It's made out of concrete, and yeah, that's fun. For protection. This is my lounge area, where Lori and I like to watch television together at night. Some books, a bunch of pieces I've done over the years, DVDs. So this is the larger studio space. My studio space is 16 by 22 overall. My desk is built out of bookshelves. It's 5 feet the one direction and 10 feet the other. Here's more books. But over here is where I have more art supplies and a bunch of cardstocks that I use for these videos, like the ones that you see on the desk today. That's the painting area where I'm working on a bunch of canvases. And there's the trolley in the corner there that I pull around to each station. So, you know, just to make it effective. More art supplies along that bottom row. Down below is paper stock, and again, more art supplies. You see a trend here? So we've got the digital section where I do all the video stuff and where I do all the digital coloring and everything else. This is where I'm sitting now. This is the space that's in the streams. So, but over here is another art section that I have where I'm working on projects for others, which I've hidden, or projects for myself. So that's the whole space. There's some additional storage down below. It's my giant size cup. You know, it works for me. It's a lot bigger than I think the video makes it look like, because I'm a little spoiled, but that's the tour. So I hope, you know, I hope people like that. And just start it over again. So that's that. I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, Chandler the Handler is joining us. Hey, how you doing, Philip? Okay, he says, we love books. Yes, we do. Indeedly do. That's definitely something that artsy types like, that's for sure. Judy says, make this a short. Oh, and Jim says, cool, thanks, Jim. He says, make this a short. It will be a short, but not until you guys got to see it first on the stream here. And I'll make it a short, and I'll post that after, and it'll have sound on it, so it won't be me overdubbing the video. It'll be, oh, I got some clapping. And I got sound on it, so it won't be overdubbing. I just couldn't figure out how to get the sound to run through OBS to play to StreamYard. But I probably could have done it through StreamYard now that I think about it, because thinking is difficult some days. So, yeah, you know, well, it's all coming together slowly and surely. Small circles, huh? Small circles. So that's the gist. So, okay, let's get cracking on today's page. Today's suggestions from Jim Luan. It's Christopher drawing a one page of Christopher. I really have to read it too. Christopher drawing a one page of Christopher, drawing a one page of Christopher, etc. into infinity. Oh my God, that's a lot. It's a lot. All right, so let's start a silly panel. We'll put that on here. I'm using this paper again because I like it. I have a bunch of this that I've done, so I'm missing stuff. What has Jim said? Show us your feet. Show us your bare feet now. Wait, this isn't your only toes page? Sorry. This is the same Jim that went on Dee Dee's page earlier today and tried to give her a suggestion. I got a one. Oh, wait, nope, sorry, wrong place. Bye. And he just disappeared. That guy's a turkey, hey? Turkey, I tell you. All right, so, they pass a the border. A border. Okay, this is going to be an easy enough page, I think, because I'm pretty familiar with the model. Oh, here's a great joke. Into infinity? That'll take forever. Wah, wah. And then no corns for Dee Dee. I will leave if feet are shown. Yeah. Okay. So I don't have corns, and I am also not interested in showing my feet, so you're safe. Because the camera ain't big enough for my feet. I just don't want to show my feet. Weird, Jim, man. Sometimes, man, weird, man. You know what I mean, man? Come on, man. I ain't gonna be showing the bunny all up my feet. All right. So I've got the Comic Jam tonight. So anybody that's watching this that's in London and surrounding area, come on out. It's going to be lots of fun. As Bjork says, it would make all the children laugh. That's right, the Bjork impression. What a weirdo. What am I missing? Okay. All right, so we've got our assignment. I'll get this out of the road. So my desk is a little ridiculous. I recognize that, but my desk is ridiculous because a maid said that way. So it serves my ridiculousness. you know, and at the end of the day, sometimes, you know, we gotta just lean right into that. Right into that. What else? Yeah, I'm feeling good. I hope everybody else is feeling good, but I am feeling, I'm going to go this far. It's a limb, and I'm out on it. Splendid. So, deal with that. All right. I've already got a name for the page. Ad Finatum. It just came to me. It's like a bolt out of the blue, man. So one of the crazy things about the jam is that because I'd spend my whole day drawing, and you know, I don't want to overshadow anybody's style with my own style. Like, I want to embrace and encourage, because we get a lot of young artists at the jam. And if you don't have a comic jam, or you're not sure what I'm relating to, what we do is that we get together every month, and I supply all the materials for people to use. And what it is that somebody starts a comic page and then passes a page in the middle of the table, and the next person picks up on the next panel, and so forth and so forth and so forth until that page is done. We've only ever tried to connect the narratives of a bunch of pages once. Pure chaos. What it says, Dee Dee has only shown her feet once or twice when she had to stand on the desk. I don't want to know. I don't know why anyone would want to see my feet. That's, you know, think of the children, think of the future here. Anyhow, the comic jam is fun. It's great. It teaches people to get outside their comfort zone, or to try to lean into their intuition and just get stuff done, and not reserve themselves with hesitation or anything like that. Oh, it's got to be perfect. It's just have fun. It's just a jam. It's not so particular that, you know, the whole of your future is dependent on how good you are on these random pages with other people. So Philip used to go to, Judy said that she had to reach the top shelf. Yeah, I only take my shoes off when I get things off the bottom shelf. It's the same, but different. Philip says he used to go to a comic jam in Toronto years ago. Yeah, the Toronto Comic Jam is really long running. There's one that's over at the library downtown, and it's been going for somewhere in the, I think they might be at 30 years now. So, keen like a jelly bean. I know. I put it on my hand. I know. It's just ballpoint pen. My hand's not going to fall off. So that it's a really great way, a jam with other artists, just to sort of get you out of that, you know, that vibe. Pages were put into a pile in the middle, and we could pick one out to continue. Yeah, that's the exact same thing we do. I never wear shoes in the house. Oh, and hardly when I go out. Hippie. If I can get away with not wearing shoes, I would do it. But now these days, I tend to wear shoes in the house, just because my feet get cold. Yeah, we do the same thing. We put the pages in the middle of the table, and people just grab a page they haven't worked on. That's an important part for us, is you can't have worked on that page. Because if that's the case, then, you know, it's just becoming your narrative. And the whole point of it is shared narratives and stepping outside of your own storytelling. It's the idea of working with others and exploring avenues or directions that you might not have taken it in. Some people have a really hard time with that. I really want to finish it. Well, you can't. And the whole point of this is to let go, to get loose, get limber, get free. See that? I figured it out eventually. We've been going since 2015 at the same location, and we have fun. I've been doing jams, part of jams since 1990, I think. And, works for me. So I'm really pushing the perspective on this here. Yeah, that's one of the images that I use for the videos. So I'll just do that. Because it's a real push perspective, and I like that. I like it. I like it. So far, so good. I'm feeling all right. If you can't do a jam, if there isn't a jam where you are, like if you've got online friends, there are programs and suites now that let you actually, there's a thing called Whiteboard where you can actually work on a same surface together and utilize said surface to do an interactive meeting. Well, that also plays over to artists and to do a jam together. So there's alternative ways to do it if you're isolated or, I don't want to go downtown. People there spittoon upon the sidewalk, and I shan't not walk there. Especially if you're Dee Dee, who never, ever wears shoes, to my understanding. She said it. She told us. So I keep turning it because when you draw with the ballpoint pen and you work on one side like this, the ink dollops up on the top part of it. And that ain't good for anybody. So I keep looking this way because everything's turned around now. So my video suite is actually over there, and I need to put it over to this screen. But just, we'll get there. Foot. Oh my gosh. We've lost her, folks. Yeah, trust in yourself. Trust in the process, Runsman. Oh, I know why. Instead of finishing the whole section of the eye, I'm like, why does that seem like my eye is so small? It's because we'll get there. We're getting there. Okay, so this is me thinking. I'm reflecting before I start jumping into infinity. I'm reflecting. You're reflecting on, Chris. What in the world am I doing? There's been a few different suggestions that are kind of autobiographical in nature. Well, forcing me to do some autobiographical material by the nature of the suggestions. And I'm fine with that. I do that all the time. I just don't actually put myself in them. There's some books that it was funny. I was watching a review by some guys in the States about a completely distinctly separate kind of material. I've never been quiet, and I never will be, about my love of the dorkiest comic on earth, the Legion of Superheroes, because it's such a antiquated trope of like lightning lad, Saturn girl, cosmic boy, bouncing boy, so these guys do reviews of issues and just read through and talk about points, and you find out all kinds of nostalgic things about the process of creating these books' creation, and they interview some of the people behind them. It's an interesting thing, but they started reviewing Collier's magazine, Collier's Comics, and I've met him. He lives. I think it's Windsor. He lives nearby. He's not too far away, but he's been doing these autobiographical books for years, and he did them through Drawn and Quarterly for a long time. And I really enjoy that. And we're trying to figure out with the publisher about what's my thing? What am I doing? What is it like? And one person had said crumb, and that's a fairly flattering comparison, but I don't know that my work is anything like crumb. But then I realized when I was looking at Collier's, maybe it's like that, because he fires off on these anecdotes like I do. Not just, when I was talking to him, he did, but at the same time, when you read his books, he does it left, right, and center. Kind of like a certain domesticated gorilla. So I wish I'd engaged more time with him. And so I'm going to have to contact him again, because the more that I recognize this, the more that I realize he would be a fantastic person to talk to, because I have no idea what my market is. I have no idea who. I mean, I really appreciate the people that follow the stream and the people that have copies of the book that have, and they've enjoyed them and so forth, or maybe they haven't. And but I still don't know really who my audience is. I still feel a little bit of a disconnect on that front. So he would be a good person to talk to about, hey, how do you describe what this is? Because I don't know. I have no idea. He goes off into short stories, and most of his stuff has an autobiographical nature, but I really enjoyed it. I just bought Kirby's New Gods collection in a large graphic novel. Nice. Yeah, I've got. There's a whole bunch of different ones. There's the Mr. Miracle ones. They've got like omnibus of them, and there's lots and lots of them. But yeah, a big volume of Kirby at one sitting is a lot of fun. Specifically the New Gods. I'm specifically the New Gods and Mr. Miracle and the Forever People. These are absolute fantastic, crazy, out in the left field, imaginative sci-fi stories. And he was really kind of getting the short end of the stick there. Here's a funny story for you, though, in case you don't know. Kirby wanted to kill Thor. He created Thor. He wanted to kill Thor. And so with that, Stan said, no. My audience's name is Glenn. He lives in Montgomery, Alabama. He has 2 kids, Ralph and Monica. He enjoys your show. Is Glenn a single dad? Or is he married to Montgomery, Alabama? What are the names? Ralph and Monica? Jim's crazy, man. That got crazy. You got crazy talking. I knew somebody used to always shout, don't be crazy. Don't be boring. They were very boring. So this is the Chris's thinking image. So, it's a healthy start. It's vigorous. I'll go vigorous. I got lost. Okay, the Kirby story. So Kirby wanted to kill off Thor because if you know the mythology of the Norse gods, Ragnarok is a period with the Norse gods where the world ends. There's a great battle, and they all fall. Thor kills the Midgard serpent and drowns in its venomous blood, and Odin versus Surtur. So they're killing all the major bad guys in their mythology, in their pantheonic mythology, but at the sacrifice of all the gods. And then they all go to Valhalla, which has been empty because all of the Valhallan dead. If you die as a Viking, you go to Valhalla. So when Ragnarok happens, Odin blows his horn and all the dead come back to life, all the warriors. If you're not a warrior, you don't get to go there. But Valhalla's emptied. The gods go there basically to shut the door on this world, and it reboots. It's a really interesting thing for an ancient mythology to reboot the world. So Kirby thought, why don't we do that with the Thor comic? And because he was looking at it purely from a creator's vantage point, whereas everything about Stan was as a business vantage point. And so Stan said, what are you, crazy? So he said no. So Kirby kept fleshing out these ideas, and because he was so dissatisfied that, this is a guy who's responsible for the Silver Age of Marvel, and yet everything he would propose, he's getting shut down. No, we can't do that because it's all licensed materials at this point for Stan Lee and for Marvel. So what happens is he goes to DC, and DC gives him a contract and says, come on over. Yeah, we got Kirby. And so the idea is that he's not going to have all this editorial interference. He's got, a couple people to work with, and that's it. And which is great, which is ideal for him. So he comes up with the stuff that he was going to present at Marvel as the next iteration of Thor and everybody else. And brings it to DC. And that's the New Gods. Also, Darkseid is based on Richard Nixon. Jack Kirby, an interesting man. Post-Watergate, right? Didn't trust that guy. Tricky Dick. That's what his nickname was in the American media at the time, because he got caught doing the thing that they all do anyways. So, yeah, he thought he'd base the features of Darkseid on Richard Nixon. Oh, the pointless things you learn here, huh? So that's my Jack Kirby New God story. So he had to refine everybody a little bit and make sure that they were distinctly separate from the Marvel characters. But Orion was Thor, basically Thor, and it's super cool and super fun. But it's not like you can't direct one-to-one comparison again, because you give Kirby an inch and he's gonna imagine your things to a point where they're wholly new and wonderful, clear creations, but they started out as a reimagining of Thor, the entire Marvel pantheon. Not pointless. No, that's good. Thank you, Didi. That's I truly adhere to that belief, and other people I don't agree. I don't care. But Jack Kirby is who created Marvel Comics. Period. Him and Steve Ditko. Although Kirby designed Spider-Man, Kirby came up with the character of Spider-Man, and well, I'll start drawing it. Nope, we're gonna get somebody else. You don't want all the books to be your style. It's one of Stan's ideas, and so they got Ditko in, and Ditko spun it up and made Spider-Man what Spider-Man became. But the initial idea of looks more like Green Hornet and the Fly. The Fly comic is actually directly spun out of another company, taking what would have been had Kirby done the Spider-Man book. So, yep. And thankfully, that's not what happened, because Ditko's version of him is so fantastic. But the old Marvel method would be, Stan Lee would say, here's an idea. How about 4 people with, they go up in a rocket ship and get some abilities. And Jack would go home and draw the book in the course of a week or a weekend, and then bring it back in with the notes for the panels, the dialogue for the panels written in pencil in the gutters between panels. And then Stan would take those and jazz them up a little bit, and then claim he wrote the book. Paul's here. Hi, Paul. Welcome aboard. So, editors, huh? Let's have this editor conversation again. You want to write a book, write a book. Guy's got a big nose. Didi says she showed a James Christensen book today, was mentioned by Paul. And Paul says, ah! I still can't find mine. I think that's the sound he made. Ah! I think I'm going to... The words I didn't say was cut the panel here. I think I'm going to cut the panel here because I got some story to tell here. All right, but we'll finish this off. See, this is the reason that I even made this panel as wide as it is because this is where I really need to fit the dialogue, the contextual dialogue for the narrative. So not sure how that looks in camera. Huh. I'll pay, ladies and gentlemen. I saw your comment just today. The His paintings are incredible. They really are. They really are. I have a whole mural room I painted of his paintings. Is that right? Oh my gosh. I've heard about the mural room a couple times now, Diddy. That would be a cool room to see. There's a feeling, by the way, of doing the video and showing that video today of the studio space. There is a bit of a feeling of exposing yourself, like, oh, even Paul says he'd like to see a picture of that. Oh, I'm not keeping it. Yeah, for sure. Anyways, back to exposing myself. Awkward. All right. So I'm just gonna top hairline. There ain't a lot of it. And then there's the hat. So drawing in pen forces me to stop being precious and move on. This was there's a comfort in drawing with pen, but there's also a practical aspect to that where if you're drawing in pen, you have not got the ability to re-engineer lines and go back and, I gotta go back. And you sort of set yourself up. Here's where it is. Now you can really lightly sketch in form in that of your whatever subjects you're drawing, but it sort of leaves you like that. Didi says, love your studio, Christopher. Thank you, Didi. It's very nice of you. Pic of me exposing myself. My studio, Paul. For those that missed it, he showed it. Yeah. Yeah, so I can show the video again. I'll show it at like, time is it now? 2:40. I'll show it before the stream is over. I'll show it one more time. Okay, so here's thinky pose, huh? Fine thinky thinker. Looks more austere than I am. It's fun having finished that yesterday, building this extension on the desk so that I could do that. There were no feet shown during my studio tour. Yes, you're correct, Didi. No feet were shown, and in the showing of this studio, there were no feet that were exposed here. We won't have any of that nonsense, weirdos. There we go. All right. Paul says that he's a big fan of salads. I'm a foot guy. What does that mean? Think of the future. So I'm trying to extended my chin whiskers a little bit here. Babe. Okay, so as I usually do, I'm going to cut in 2 seconds with the white and just finish this, the neck here. So Mr. Thinky Thinkerton is the first panel. I think I might have a eureka and then start drawing and then just... And actually, okay, there we go. Yeah, that is a different aesthetic, that's for sure. Just there's always a weirdo in the crowd, right? Like there's a really great, I don't know if people are familiar with the Frantics, unless you're from, if you're from Ontario, you know who the Frantics are. It goes without saying. But there is a Canadian comedy group called the Frantics, and they have this bit where there's this weird guy on the bus, and so I see you're reading the paper, and he's just, different. And yeah, he goes, a lot of dirty things in the paper. It's like, oh no. And yeah, everything he says is highly suggestive. It's nothing to do with the paper. It's everything to do with, the suggestibility of his perspective on words. So he goes, oh yeah, look at that one. Flood has left damage in certain areas. I was like, oh Lord. And even the guy that's the other guy in the sketch is kind of like, okay, right? So good. Nobody touches their feet. Thanks, Dee Dee. Nobody touches my feet. Nobody. Don't give away your secrets and phobias, because if we all get kidnapped and taken over by space aliens, they'll know just the ways to torture us. We got her. We got her. And all right, get her shoes off. There's a fun story. The creepy aliens with fetishes. Like all the hillbillies getting examined. That's nothing to do with the science. It's everything to do with some weird aliens hang-ups. Creepy aliens. They know what they're doing. Creeps. What a bunch of weirdos. What do you got here? Let's see what you got. Try to look and see what that looks like in the frame. I realize I haven't drawn the other piece of the glasses. I will do so in a second. It just doesn't look right, man. Come on, man. So Ralph and Monica Where is it? Montana? Something? What did Jim say? Jim says, my followers, my audience is Glenn, Ralph, and Monica that live in Montgomery, Alabama. That is my audience base. How do I capitalize on that? I got to move to Montgomery. Maybe I don't want to live near Ralph and Monica. And the third name that I've already forgot. I did it twice in a row. Yeah, okay. So the suggestion today is Christopher drawing a one page of Christopher drawing a one page of Christopher, etc. into infinity. And it's Jim Luan is responsible for that. So this is this texture that I put down on the paper before I start working on it. And in this case, I think it was using Smack and Dragon. So, here we go. Jim Luan has a question of the day, everybody. Would you rather be the boss or have a boss that leaves you alone? It's a good question, everybody. It's a good question. Would you rather be the boss or have a boss that leaves you alone? It's the question of the day, folks. So anybody that's watching the stream, please feel free to answer. Throw in your own perspective on this. Do I have to do anything to my old boss? How do I get rid of the boss? Be my own boss, Diddy says. I watched Nobody last night. If anybody's had a chance to see Nobody, there's a great be your own boss reference in that. Don't forget the shadow from the glasses. Don't forget the shadow from the glasses. I'm definitely really enjoying doing my own thing now. Happy Pen. I really, truly am. I did worked for somebody else's profit for a long time. And while there's no part of me that's going to naysay what I did all that time, right? I did it. I enjoyed it. But in hindsight, I really enjoy doing my own thing and not having to go down someplace else and take myself away really from the time I should be spending doing something else. I feel very fortunate to be able to do this right now. So yeah, own boss all the way. All right, that's coming together okay. Throw a little bit more here. Okay. Paul says he needs a boss. I need a boss, Paul says. And Didi says, I have 2 cats. Oh, that's good. Yeah, the cats, our one cat, she's really funny. This is our 14-year-old cat named Baby. Whenever Lori and I sit down together to, spend time together, watch television, sit down, have a bite to eat, just talk about what's going on in the day, Baby always has to join in. Like, she just looks at the two of us like she thinks she's part of this conversation. It's the funniest thing in the world to me. If Lori comes down to see me in the studio, Baby comes with her. It's like, well, okay, let's go check on Dad. Like, It's really ridiculous. And yet at the same time, it's so cute. It's so cute. She also has this toy that she says that I first got her, and she's way too young to be separated from her mother when I got her. So, it was a touch and go thing to get her to a point where she was able to be, on her own. Well, I bought her a toy to just sit beside her in her little sleeping area because it was like the same size. It was this little round, I'm not sure if it's a cow or a horse. It was basically a round ball, little ears on it and little feet hanging off of it. It's ridiculous. But it used to be the same size as her, and it's still not small. Like, it's still, a good 4 inches around, but she carries it down the hall. Like, she drops it off wherever one of us are. Like, we're constantly babysitting what she clearly thinks is her baby or her toy. So it's, she howls as she's bringing it down the hallway. Like, "Get ready, Dad, you're babysitting." She's been doing that her entire life. She's never had kittens. It's just the most ridiculous thing ever. Dee Dee says, "I am a cat butler." Hashtag cat cam. Yeah, cat cam is set up, but there's no cats. Be right back. Phone. Jim says, "Personal projects, I'm my own boss 100%. Day job, must prefer having a boss." Yeah. I was a boss at my previous job, and my boss leaves me alone in my current one. Being left alone is easier and more natural. Being forced to collaborate as a boss might be better for me. Oh, that's really interesting, dude. Yeah, I've been in management numerous times in different jobs, and for a long time. In the 1990s, I was executive, like a really low tier executive in my department, and it's like, nobody respects you. Let's put it this way. Nobody ever, the moment that you turn around, even if you try to be as amiable and as supportive and encouraging as you can, there's always people in the staff that are just unhappy, and they're just going to blame you for all of their insecurities. And that's unfortunate, but that's got nothing to do with you. That's the problem with being a boss. In my book, is one of those things that it doesn't matter how you try to be supportive and encouraging and generous with some people, it's never enough, and they're a bottomless pit. But so for me, I'm tired of being in charge of others. Even with the comic company and doing the anthologies and even doing the comic jam, I don't do it as directing anything. There's no part of me that has any interest in it. Here's the way we're doing it, guys. The only thing I say to people is it's an all ages thing. So if you can keep your weird hang-ups to yourself, recognize there's children in the room, and if you don't know how children work, maybe don't take part. Just because I don't care if you're, oh, well, that's no, I don't care. This is an all ages event. Figure out how to work in society. That's my only thing that I ever really put restrictions on. Try not to be a tool. Paul hates bossing anybody. Yeah, I hear you. Well, I didn't. I had to do it with my capacities. But some people have a mentality the boss is always that guy. When if they had their job, they'd make the exact same calls. Or worse. Or better. But no matter what, they wouldn't be that guy. And it's always easy to say, I wouldn't X, Y, Z when you're not doing it. But when you have to do it, when you have to be that person, it's not so easy to make said calls on what they did wrong or what should have been done differently. So it's sad. It's sad to me. It's a sad and aggravating state that people behave like that. But You can't be responsible for the emotional states of other individuals. I worked with somebody who was a never-ending stream of woe is me, life is out to get me, it'd be nice if I could, yeah, but and would say it to every person that they could hold captive for any given seconds. And because this is a female person, and a lot of the a lot of our customer base was men, she would constantly be like, oh, so here's that, and she'd just keep people held captive, held hostage, while they whined about the weirdest things, and they tell them about personal stuff, and it was terrible. Gary says, I'm really liking the inking, Christopher. Thank you, Gary. That's very nice of you. Do not like being a bad cop. Oh, I hear you, Jim. I hear you. Sometimes you have to go, hey, stop hitting yourself in the forehead with that. Sometimes you just have to. Try not to lick that thing. It's electrical, I don't care if the safety's on, dummy. Gary says, I can't be responsible for the emotional states of others is an important lesson as a boss, but also in life. I'll do my best to be thoughtful and kind, and after that, it's up to you to be an adult. See, that's, yeah. I don't know. That's sort of a headspace thing, really. Because some people you're never going to fix that. You're never going to fix that. And they're never going to reevaluate themselves. And it's a challenging thing. But Gary, I completely agree that being thoughtful and kind and doing as much as you can as a person, and especially as somebody who's in charge of somebody else, that's it. I appreciate your work schedule and your other responsibilities in your life. I don't want to infringe on that, but if when you're here, you kind of got to do something. Still doesn't mean you can actually motivate them to do something. But you're always going to find people. There's always somebody, in groups that, whether it's a workplace or whatever else, that if it hurts when you punch yourself in the face, stop punching yourself in the face, and maybe appreciate that everyone else doesn't constantly punch themselves in the face or want to watch you do it either, or listen to you talk about doing it. It's a challenge. That's a lesson that a lot of people that just won't get. Oh, I don't know why I'm using pencil. Let's get that out of there. Get out of there. Oh, I know, because I just did the lines. Okay, so here's our next image. Here's the ideas. Here's the ideas as they come. Oh, they come. Whenever I try to draw myself, I try to draw myself as flattering as possible. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Gary says, I don't love being bad cop either, but I have to admit, there was one time I had to fire someone, and I was sort of delighted to do it. It's because he was one of those guys that had to go. Yep. There are situations when one must cut the chaff from the wheat. There really are. And you're going to be a bad guy even if you don't. That's usually ends up being part of the problem of why you had to do it in the first place. It's the worst. I would also try to encourage people, if you're disappointed with the shortfalls of what you're doing, go do something else. This place should be. No, this place is what it is. What you want is something more. It's not happening here. I highly encourage you to go and find something more. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, everybody. It's the site where Frankly is constantly turning over, constantly rolling down the street. I haven't had a chance to watch any of his videos yet, but I hear he goes down like angled streets and just rolls and rolls and rolls. Something like that. Something's rolling. It's a fan site of the Transformers Decons. The trans robotic changings. So it's a fun question, Jim, but it's also it's a tough one for some people because being a boss is allows you to take on more things and to grow and develop and not just feel stagnated in what you're doing. But then it comes all of the additional responsibilities. And if it's not your place, but you're doing all of this extra, that's not fun either. And then the recognition, of course, that comes along with realizing, well, if we have X, Y, Z to get done, and I can see that it's not getting done by so-and-so in this capacity in this place, now you got to do something. Now you're engaged with and acting with that. And that's where it becomes the bad cop. I got to be the bad guy. All right. So it's really hard to see stuff with this space. So I'm going to come in and pull some of these other values as I'm This is the section that I was telling you about how I'm really trying to make myself look as flattering as I can. The last book that I put out, I had somebody actually specifically say to me, "Why did you do that cover?" Because in the cover of the last book, right, it's like I just got tilted by a brick or something. And yet it's right there. It makes me smile. It's here's how seriously I'm taking myself. Just enjoy it, you know. Has anybody ever had a situation where they had somebody confront them about something and involved with working for somebody else, and like some crazy awkward, the whole world has ended because of something you did or did not do, and it just made you reevaluate, what the heck am I doing here? Has anybody ever had that? I'd be curious to hear stories like that. That's because those situations are terrible. I had somebody that thought I was, who hasn't, Dee Dee says, oh, yeah. I had somebody I was working with. They were interviewed by a reporter, and they gave this fantastic interview. And I'm like, that's great. And I celebrated them. Like, they're like, can I ask you some questions? I'm like, yeah. But in between the two of us, they talked to this one, I'd say customer, but he never bought anything. He just sort of hung around and, pontificated on the world. And one day we caught him shoplifting. And it's like he had waited for his time, and it was like, oh, moron. So he starts chipping off to the interviewer right between the two of them. And so I said, just none of the stuff that guy just told you has any basis of fact or reality here. He doesn't work here. So please, whatever you're doing, don't include this perspective he has as representing our headspace as a workplace. Because it doesn't. Oh, okay. And I said, the person that talked to you before that's fantastic. I mean, that's that's really great that he was able to express himself and so freely and openly and honestly, and yeah, use that. Well, he doesn't hear me say part B. He only hears me say part A. So he sulked for 4 months. He sulked for 4 months. And finally one day I said, what the hell is you, what's going on? It's with this whole not talking to anybody, sulking and sighing constantly while you're here and then leaving, at the end of your shift without having said more than 5 words to people. Well, because you said that. I said, no, I did not say that. I said that about the other guy. That simple misunderstanding made this guy carry on like that for months. It's like, you can't help that with people. All he had to do was say, did you say that? And we'd be like, nope, you can even check the tape. That's not what was said. It was said that guy's a bozo. And your interview was fantastic. And you're sulking for months after being, somebody else has said that your interview was fantastic. So that's why they don't understand why you're sulking. Ridiculousness. I told the story of a boss trying to make us gals wear dresses while working in visual merchandising. That is one of the funniest stories I've ever heard. If I can I try to paraphrase it, Didi? Because it is so good. Or do you want to do it on your next stream? Because it's such a good story. And maybe people should check your next stream to see it. Okay, here it is. She's got it. I said, okay. She went home at lunch that day. She put on a dress. She came back and immediately climbed a 6-foot ladder. So good. So good. Oh, my gosh. Climbed. You said it again. You said coined. Anyways. Yeah. Talk about reevaluate your decision. It's thanks, boss. Yeah, sure. We'll wear a dress up a ladder. That's so funny. I had one person that got a little too into the whole, as the social justice thing is kicking in. They were, we don't say that anymore for those people. We say this, and then one of those people that she's representing for them said, "Hey, lady, don't speak for me." That's like the greatest thing ever. Don't speak for me. It was a hey, white girl. Yeah, it was so good. It was a 16-foot ladder. Oh my gosh. We all went back to pants the next day. That's great. It's so great. That's how you actively protest something. Fantastic passive aggressiveness. So I'm trying to get a hold of crazy expression face here. This expression is, what? Yeah, that is such a great story, Didi. What's sad is, when you engage with those people, and it's always something. You just, after a while, it's the chicken little parable. When you've got somebody that every day they're dissatisfied with whatever, and you're like, well, here's a way to actively change that. Yeah, but no, they're never going to change it. It's never going to happen. They don't have the facility to do that, and that's unfortunate, but it's real. And after a while, the sadness of it is that you just tune them out. You just don't take that into consideration anymore. It's kind of a sad state, but that's what usually happens when you're in charge of things, and it's never going to happen. Why bother? Didi says, love the contrast in this one. Oh, thanks, Didi. The dark inks. Today I went with a Papermate, a 1.0M. It is a black ink. I like the tone of the ink in the Papermate pens, the ballpoint pens. I really do. It is a really crisp black, and I like that. Like you usually find with Bics that they're a little more warm. There's a little more warmth in the color, and so they sort of become purple pretty quick. Frankly says, I tune out people like that too. Good for you, Frankly. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. Anybody in life in general. You don't get enough time to take up from after a while from people. Some people, there's two ways that people will look at that, and both of them feel like a little bit of condemnation. Some people claim it's impatient. You're impatient with people, and other people will say that you don't suffer fools, which is just as equally condemning, but from the other side of it. I think both of those things aren't necessarily describing what the reality of it is. Eventually, they just wear you down, wear you out. You ain't got time for it. I had a guy on a job site. We're working on a build, and he's literally standing there with his hand just holding this one thing in place, and bap, 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 the whole time. And you're like, dude, we're all waiting here for you to just tow that board in. And it's like, there's 5 people standing there staring at him. It's ridiculous. I haven't spoken to my mom in 4 years. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Frank, but maybe it's better for you. I don't know. But that's too bad. It's a tough thing, that. I was only raised by my mom, and she's a character. So I tell her that too. I go, Mom, you're a character. And she goes, stop it. Stop it. Okay, so this is not the most flattering image after all. I totally thought it would be. So this is a Jelly Roll 8. I think that the 5s in the Jelly Roll pens are pointless. The 8s and the 10s are the way to go. But the 10 beads a lot, right? So if you're doing a large volume of space with a 10, it works. But if it's just for drawing, it just, like, you can see how the 8 tries to bead a little bit. But someone banned Frank. What did he say? What am I missing? I'm kidding. I love my mama. I haven't spoken to her in 3 years. I wasn't serious, Chris. Oh, okay. Because she passed. Oh my God. Somebody banned Frank. Trick is just not listening. There's what a character. See, I'm gonna try to use this brush here. What are we at? What time are we doing? We're doing pretty good. Big volumes, right? This guy here has got the crazy eye. You got the crazy eye going on there. All right, where are we at? Oh, still good, still good. So, I didn't tell you, the music I'm listening to today is I, Mother Earth. And the album is called Dig. A little bit of the Canadian rock and rolls. So the third panel is the drawing panel, and then the fourth panel is the drawing of the drawing panel, and subsequently every other panel on that page is the drawing of the drawing panel of the drawing of the drawing of the drawing of the drawing. And I think I might intersperse the panel amongst them. This is a really straightforward page idea. It's just how do you go about doing it, right? This is how I'm going about doing it. There we go. Bald. Somebody bad Frank. Nobody bad Frank. He's precious. He's my weird adopted son from Texas. I didn't even know I had him. I don't know how young I would have had to have been when he was born. Because I'm just a baby now. Even if my oldest son turned 28 on the weekend. Where are we at? Do any of you watch Professor of Rock on the YouTubes? He talks about bands and their songs, how their song came to be, etc. Sometimes he interviews artists. I really like it. No, I haven't, Frank, but Professor of Rock. I'm behind on child support because Frankly is out of maple candy, frankly. I'm going to have to send him. That's his support, by the way. I could need some candy. It's a terrible, terrible way to parent. Here's some candy. Put it in your face and chew. Norm, the baby's crying. Well, quick, put some candy in his mouth before he gets ideas and starts talking. This guy looks like a maniac. I'm going to have to look at that show. What's it called? Professor of Rock. Professore of Rock. Rock. There's another show called The History of Rock that it's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic podcast. And he talks about, like, because his primary music placement, music period when he was a journalist was in the 90s. He's got all kinds of insights into a lot of the 90s musicians and recording scenarios and stuff like that. It's really interesting. Back in with the white. What am I missing? All my kids smell like maple and very quiet. It's working. What band can I? Solved. Back out into the world there, Billy. This person looks crazy. So we finally got on top of the. I'm allergic to spiders. Isn't that fun? That's what bit me on my forehead, and so it's finally going away. It's a couple of videos on Gordon Lightfoot. One about sundown. Oh, nice, nice. All right. So I'm going to do that. Fill in the blacks on the old Tukaruni. Try to get, and when you're drawing with ballpoint, try to fill in your blacks, but don't completely fill them in. Makes no sense, Chris. I know. The reason I say that, like have a solid enough volume in there, but allow the little spaces to come through, so because it still sort of keeps it with that energy of ballpoint pen drawing. I find that when people fill that all in so it's perfect and give that creamy finish to their ballpoint drawings, it's what the hell's the point of that? You lost the initial character of the whole medium you're working in. But then again, I am a fuss bag. Yeah. Yeah, if anybody else has seen The Professor of Rock, there's another guy who's a composer, and he listens to old albums, and usually gets because he grew up listening to classical music, and so a lot of this stuff is brand new to him. And on recommendations, he'll listen to certain albums on his program, and it's funny to see his head just blown away by something like, Rat Salad by Black Sabbath. There is something far more to this than what it's presented as. Wish you a short live and I just show some love. Welcome back, Philip. Okay. All right, so we're almost done this one. And then what's the other two I said? I've got the drawing on paper, and then the drawing of me drawing on paper. Could that be shut down a little bit? Can that be tightened up? Do you think it's just better just to do a picture of drawing on paper, and that's that, and not focusing on the two layers of that? Because the drawing would have to be him drawing himself on paper in the first place, right? So maybe we just eliminate the former, but not so much the latter. It's about trying to tighten it up sometimes as much as I can. The idea of one-page comics is to try to get as much across as I can to sort of fully round out the idea I'm trying to express, but limiting the amount of space I give myself to do it. I think I'm just going to do it as one. Come back in with that white. Am I missing? Oh, I'm all caught up. Okay. So I'm going to do some more of this this technique on the paper. And like as far as it goes for preparing it, I'm going to do some more of this because I enjoy working this way, but it's all the same color and that's boring. So I'm get it sorted out. So this is a paint marker and a white jelly roll pen and a black papermate pen. Archival quality all the way. Nope. Anything can be made archival quality with enough fixing and sealing. Just have fun with whatever you're doing, whatever you're using. Didi said, did you show your studio again when I stepped away? No, not yet. We're getting close. Give me a couple more minutes. I'm just going to finish this panel, and then I shall show. First, I got to give myself a whole bunch of rolls of fat in my neck. And then I'll be showing the studio tour one more time. And then that's it. Lost for the ages. So yeah, so I think I'm going to do one more panel of drawing himself. And then I'm going to get crafty with that in the robot. I did that in well, you'll see it. It's coming up in the Stream of Conceit in this book. I actually do that where I'm just going to make it. You're going to make it. This pen is running out of ink. I almost killed another one. I used to have a whole drawer of dead pens. For some reason, I was saving them. And I stopped doing that because I needed the drawer. That's the only reason why. I needed that drawer space. Get out of there, pens. What the hell am I doing saving these? All right, so I'll just put this last little belts of white in there. Yeah. Oh, happy day. Okay, so there's the first two panels. I just have to draw the third panel at this point. But what time are we at? Let's see where we are. Oh. Hey there, the dry dock sub is in Port Burwell rather than Port Franks. Thanks, Lori. Where were we that day, hon? Yeah. Okay, so I had promised that I would show the video one more time. Okay. That is distracting. Okay. So I shot a video of the studio. It's going to go up on the YouTube community spot for anybody that's in the community that wants to see it. And we'll be putting it up on our Patreon as well. But what is this? Names aren't always my strong suit. Oh, you betcha. That's why I got all the kids tattooed right here. Well, not all of them, but I got to get it all finished up. Instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12. Okay. So I got a video that I shot at the studio. The sound didn't kick in, so I'm going to be narrating what I said. But this is just, I finally got the the last piece of desk built. I added 4 feet to it yesterday. And, if you want to see it permanent, like I'll be permanently placing it in a couple of different places or in a couple of different spots. So it'll be available to watch there. But in the meantime, here we go. Just give me a second. I'm going to cue it up. And this ding is off the screen there. Okay, so here we go. This is the studio. This is the hallway outside the door to the studio. That's the cat's toys. I asked them to pick those up, before I shot the video. And that's a star. That's my Thor hammer. It's made out of concrete, just in case. It's for protection purposes. This is the lounge area with furniture chosen by Christopher. Or he's not responsible for my mismatched furniture. There's going to be a lot of books in this studio, folks. Books and DVDs. So this is my desk. It is 5 feet across and 10 feet long. And so the scaling's a little off. More books. So this is more art supplies that I got tucked away. And that's all cardstock. That's all 8.5 by 11 or roughly around there, cardstock-wise. That's my painting area. And that is the trolley that I have that moves to the 3 different spaces I work, painting in and drawing desks. More storage I built in. The bottom shelf there is more art supplies, pens, pencils. There's paper, more art supplies down below. And here in the corner, that's the digital section that I work at. This is where I do, the Photoshop stuff and I do the video stuff. This is where I shoot my streams from. It's where I'm sitting right now. And so this section over here, the other drawing area, is where I work on personal projects or projects for others. And I've put those away so you can't see them during this video. There's additional space underneath for portfolios, etc. And my gigantic coffee cup. But it works for me. There's some banjos. They're not banjos. But that's the studio. That's the whole space. So I hope you enjoyed that. But that's where the donuts get made. You like that? We don't make donuts here. I can't even eat donuts. That's the space. What am I missing? I had to step away for work. Back just in time for the tour. Excellent. I'm glad. Awesome space. Thanks, Dee Dee. I like the lounge area. Yeah, you got to have a lounge area. It's really helpful, I find, creatively, if you have the opportunity to step away from your desk for a moment and not run away from your desk, but step away for a moment, just sit and think. And so there's a chair parallel to me in the opposite corner that doesn't even face the television, that I go over there and I'm sitting and I'm thinking for a second, and having the studio area in mind really helps me out. So I tend to do that. My printer and scanner are on the opposite side of me, off my desk here. And so anytime I got to scan something, I'm not sedentary all the time. I got to get up, walk around, and set that all up. And for 11 by 17 pages, I got to scan them in 3 parts. Corbin's chair is right here, directly beside me, and it moves around in the space depending on where I'm sitting for Corbin, because he has to be directly beside me so he can bite my elbow. But that's the kind of the extras in there, I guess. Dee's giving some claps. Thank you. Oh, that's very nice of you, Josh. Thanks very much, sir. Canadian mom. They frankly just realized that Lori's here. Awesome, says Paul. That's very nice of you. Are there windows? Oh, yeah. But because I'm in the lower level, my window is up here. And I'm a bit of a troll. So I tend to, the blinds are closed so I could shoot the video, because otherwise the light would mess up the shot. But I got a great window here, and it's usually, the blinds are usually open. And often I have the window open itself to get some nice air flowing. I always have a fan kicking around. So, hey, Paul and Josh. Hey, Frankie, Josh. You blocked them out after my last visit. Stopping by for swimming with the kiddo. Hey, nice. Enjoy that, Josh. That's super cool. How's the DaVinci Resolve coming? Yep. I couldn't figure out how to put sound on this video today. Lori has to remind me that I have a window occasionally. That's so very true. Hey, Christopher, open your window. Oh, yeah. It's been stuffy in my studio. Did you open your window? Back in a minute. Oh, boy. So, yeah, so that's the tour of the space. It's a work in progress, because like I say, like I added this 4 feet to the desk here so that I used to have my computer set up on this side and a drawing set up on here, but it wasn't working to the full extent that I needed it to, because I'm constantly shifting what I'm working on. Whereas now I work this way for the one pages and the streams, and I work this way on the other stuff. And it's literally turning my chair while I'm moving Corbin. And then if I got to work on a computer, I go over here, 3.5, 4 feet to the right. So it's optimal. If you have enough space where you are that you're able to facilitate the ability to have dedicated little spots for the specific things that you do, that works. But because I'm a mixed media guy, and digital and painting, and and then the craft stuff I do with the grandkids is on this counter here above the additional storage and where the other supplies are kept. So, in behind me. So for me, it works like this. But for other people, I realize is that they don't need this much, room to stretch out. Also, our kids are grown up, and so I'm able to be afforded a little more space here like this. And it keeps me organized and keeps me constrained and reins in the crazy from the main floor of the house. I forgot I have a Venus flytrap in my window. Keep the window closed so it gets more sun. Thanks for the stream, Christopher, drawing and tour. Awesome. Oh, thanks, Dee Dee. It's very nice. Have a great rest of the day as well for yourself. Yeah, so that's the enchilada there. So I have to draw the third panel of me drawing myself. I have to draw myself in the third panel drawing myself. I have to do a drawing of myself doing a drawing of myself. Doing a drawing of my... Jim. This page was suggested by Jim Lewin, so thanks, Jim. Again, the tools that I've used today are the ballpoint, a Papermate ballpoint pen. These are my favorite ballpoint pen to work with, and you can see this paper towel that's here that I turn out the pen on as I'm working, because when you hold the pen at this angle, ink dollops up on the top side of it, and so turn it out like that, so that you don't get little squishes of ink that, when then you touch it like that, it puts the ink right across your drawing and wrecks the whole thing. The other tool that I've been using is a paint pen, an inexpensive acrylic paint marker, however you want to call it. It says paint pen on it. That's why I read it like that, because this lets me fill in these hits of white. The paper originally has a smack and dragon technique to it. So it's where you lay a piece of paper down, put some ink on a plastic sheet. Now, Dee Dee does this the other way. She puts the ink on the paper and then drags it with the plastic sheet. I put the ink on the plastic sheet and then drag it across the paper. I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way in that, but it tends to get the same technique. So, and it makes the ink go further, maybe? I don't know. But that modulation of the surface gives interesting value exchanges, at least I find, as I'm drawing. And so that sort of makes a little more volume in a picture, I find, by having those haphazard inks and smudges and blotches in behind. And yet you can go over them again with the white, but why not leave some of them in? Just because I find that the compelling part, is that those give me a little more extra something for your eye to look at. So it looks like a get more ideas about what I'm doing than maybe what I'm doing. So, so I try to make myself look as flattering as I can in my shock and awe. And here's me coming up with the idea. Here's me hit by the inspirato. And then the third one will be drawing of me, drawing 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 me. I could keep doing this for an hour. What do we got? A couple more things. I need to finish a zine. Frank says that I had started in a writing workshop talking about a story about a serial killer that hunts bad people and he always owns a food truck business. Needless to say, the zine won't be for kids. 4 pages. Doesn't hunt a lot of them. Hear ye, I hereby called for a joint cast episode with Chris and Josh. Cross those streams, fellas. Actually, Josh, that would be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a fun idea, Jim. Let's make that happen. I was on Josh's stream recently. I joined him in on a weekend for a little while. But that was a lot of fun. It was the first time that we'd done that. It was just chatting for a few minutes before I had to run around with my head cut off as usual. But yeah, Josh is on some exciting adventures right now, and he's swimming. I love swimming. It sort of looks like a whale in the water. Anyhow, yeah. So that's the gist. This is how much we got done of the piece. I'll get the third part of it done, title and text, and all of that once it's scanned, and I will post this tomorrow before our afternoon stream. Then. So in the meantime, thank you, Jim, for the suggestion. And I hope everybody's working on stuff. And I'd love to see what people are working on. Feel free to share. And I'm going to head out for now, but I'll be back at 2 o'clock tomorrow. And I'll see you then. In the meantime, keep arting. All right. Hold on a second. I have an idea for your next top 5. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, okay. So that's it for me. Bye for now. I'll see you tomorrow.